So is it just me? I know it's not just me. That's a rhetorical question. It's not just, it's you. If you are eating a healthy, clean diet, you have experienced, I am guessing, more gas than normal. But excess gas, it doesn't just affect and afflict people that are eating cleanly. It affects everybody. But there is definitely a correlation between clean eating and excess tooting. You see, the stinkiness or the severity at which your bombs stink can be directly correlated to the food that you're actually eating. You see, it happens like this. You eat food. It gets digested. Some of the nutrients actually get absorbed by the intestines. That's great. Nourishes our body. The other food that does not get absorbed is starting to ferment. It's digesting. Well, during the fermentation process, gases are emitted. One of the gases is hydrogen sulfide. This is the stinky one. Now, a diet super high in a lot of vegetables and fiber produces a lot of gas, but these farts don't smell quite as bad as a diet high in meat, because meat contains a higher amount of hydrogen sulfide. It's making sense, right? Alright, so now we know why gas happens and how it forms. So what are you going to do about it? That is the question. Now, if you're around a bunch of people that you're comfortable with, or you're by yourself, you can let it rip. Just like that. Seriously? Yes! For the record, that was the most perfectly timed bodily function in the history of bodily functions. Thank you. But what do you do and how do you handle bad gas when you're actually not by yourself or with your significant other, someone that you're really comfortable with, like your little brother that you fart on his head? Right. You can't just let it rip, alright? You gotta figure out another way. So what if you're in a lunch meeting? What if you're on a date? What if you're in a board meeting? And everybody's sitting there, really important stuff, and you've got horrible gas. Do you just sort of let it ease out silently? Keep your head down while you're doing it? Then all of a sudden look up, look over to your right, look over to your left, and go, you could do that. But what most of us end up doing, hopefully most of us end up doing, is holding it. And this has its own set of consequences. Yeah, you're not stinking up the place, but it's incredibly uncomfortable, bloating, you feel horrible, and you really can't concentrate on anything other than the gas and yourself trying to control everything so you don't let anything slip out. So, what do you do? How do you prevent this? You could A, stop eating, no food, no gas, right? It's probably not the most realistic option, but there are two other options that we need to talk about. They're over the counter. One is Beano, the other one is Gas-X. Here's the deal on both. Beano is a digestive enzyme that has a kind of tough name, so I'm not going to try and pronounce it, but it's natural. This should be taken with food or before you eat. It will actually prevent gas from developing. It works. I've tried it and it's amazing. It's not just for beans. It just happens to be the funny name that they gave it back in like the 70s, but it works for pretty much any food. It's an enzyme, you take it, it's natural, it's not bad for you in any way, shape, or form, and it actually prevents the gas from forming. The other over-the-counter gas treatment that you've probably heard about is something called Gas-X. Well, Gas-X is not an enzyme like Beano is. It's something different. It's an anti-foaming agent. It's not bad for you or anything like that. But what happens during the fermentation process, you have little foaming, little tiny bubbles, and that causes some bloating, all right? It's gas, it's bloating, it's uncomfortable, it's all that nasty stuff. Well, what this does is it stops those little bubbles from forming and helps larger bubbles to form. So it's actually easier to pass. So it's actually going to enhance or help you pass gas. So if you're real bloated and distended and feeling uncomfortable, it might be a great thing to take because it's going to help you push them out, get rid of them, and eliminate the gas. But gentlemen, gas, farting, toots, bombs, whatever you want to call them, it's a fact of life. It happens. But I want you to be prepared. So you got to think ahead. You might want to run out and get a bottle of Beano. It's the best way to prevent gas from happening. If you're eating a clean diet or you're subject to getting gas over or after you eat certain foods, you may want to identify those foods and eliminate them. There are some common foods that cause gas, but I'm not going to tell you to change your eating habits or lifestyle just so you don't have gas. There are ways you can manage it. The other thing is, once your body sort of assimilates and gets used to the way that you're eating, if you are getting gas because of a healthy diet, it will start to regulate and it won't be as bad. You just got to deal with it for the week or two that it takes for your body to sort of regulate and to understand what you're feeding it. So gentlemen, gas, Beano, it can help. Take it before meals. It's going to prevent you from having bloating, gas, killing everybody in the board meeting or on a date. Sorry for the video. Sorry for farting. What am I talking about? I'm not sorry I farted. That was perfect. If you're offended, I do apologize.